Well, aloha kakahiaka. Welcome, everybody. Today is February 2nd, 2024. You're live with us on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. I hope we're going to make it because it is crazy weather, very stormy, and they've already warned us in advance that that the power may be dropping out. So we will see if we're going to make it through on this episode, this exciting episode. And I brought my friends in from Instagram. Okay, we're going to. So we're waiting for Ashliey, who's rebooting, and she's going to reconnect. So let's warm up the microphones and kind of get this party started. So Heidi, why don't you start us off with your coffee of the day and what's happening and what you're doing?
Well, I am drinking a coffee today, but it is not 100% pure Maui coffee, which is a little disappointing. There actually a lot of places are really running low on 100% Maui coffee. Some of the recently harvested coffee cherries were destroyed in the Lahaina fire, so we're expecting to get another harvest later this year, but so I'm drinking a blend and it's just not the same. I miss my 100% Maui coffee. There's still some out there, but it's just they're running low at a lot of places. So
How spoiled we are. Yeah, Heidi, how spoiled we are. I wasn't
First
able to.
world, first world problems,
I
right?
know, first world problems. Yeah, I mean, we're
First
so
world
fortunate,
problems.
right?
Yeah. And I would say we have to come up with the term of like not to say only in Hawaii is too easy of a problem, right? But only in Hawaii do you get to complain that your coffee beans are blended and they're not pure from just across the street that got picked last week and roasted, right? Only in Hawaii. Maybe it's one of those only in Hawaii things. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Excellent, Heidi. Welcome back, Dylan. You're in a top secret location here with us, so we're glad that you're here today. What's going on? What's the Aloha shirt? What's the secret? What's happening?
Yes, I got to spend the week over in Heidi's neighborhood over here in Kaanapali. We're at the Sheraton, and we had a little conference here. So it was a cool couple of days of spending time and networking with people from all over the country, top agents from all across the country. And I got to speak on Tuesday to open it up because I'm the local guy. So I wore this shirt, so it's not washed. The secret is not a wash shirt, but this is a Manaola shirt that I wore on Tuesday. So I'm rerunning it for the show today, and then heading home, and then I'll do my laundry.
I think one of the coolest things about that I'm really enjoying now that you brought that up, Dylan. I think one of the coolest things that I'm really enjoying about the remote work, the new post-COVID remote work sort of world, right, is that now we can wear shirts that don't smell, that aren't washed. We can wear shirts, guys can, because girls don't do this, but guys can do this. Guys will, we can now wear shirts that smell bad and no one's going to know. No one's going to know. It doesn't matter. I washed this shirt maybe like last year. No one knows.
Well, my
because I only wear it.
The downside to the remote work world is I've been here since Tuesday and I didn't even go to the pool one time. Like I kind of, I'm not like, I'm traveling, but I'm not like really traveling because I'm still inside the state. And so I found myself like all morning outside of the sessions from the conference, just continuing to do calls and meetings and things with our team. And it was just like a regular work day, only I'm on, I'm in a hotel room in Maui instead of at home. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Normally 10 years ago, if you traveled, you were like cut off from the world for whatever time you were gone, right? But now business just goes on as usual. So
yeah, and it's kind of funny, right? Because you could even like no one even knows that you're gone. If you want to really kind of do it, no one even knows that you're gone because you're completely connected. The emails are responding, the text messages work, and yeah, it's a new world that we're living in. Speaking of new worlds, I want to say hi to Lee Ann Romo. Aloha from Southern California. Welcome, Lee. I am really glad that you are here with us. Hey, if you're here with us, give us a shout out. Let us know where you're from. We want to know that you're there and that you're with us so we can recognize you. Why don't we do this? I'm gonna let's move on. I got the wrong thing on my slide deck over here. There's a bunch of stuff. I should have gone through my lineup, but I'm going to skip that. All right. So let's go through some news while and we hope that Ashliey will be back with us. I know she had the disconnect. She was having some technical issues. We got into we had a fun we had a fun discussion, gang. We was it Mac or PC or Mac or Android, and we had a lot of fun with there. So Ashliey is rebooting her. She's rebooting her Mac while we wait. And Jen Tomko is with us. Aloha from Miloli'i. Miloli'i. All right, Dylan. That looks like a contact, a friend of yours.
I don't know if I've met Jen, but Miloli'i is one of my favorite places. It's a little fishing village in South Kona, and I always tell the story of Miloli'i being special to me in my real estate career, because when I first started, one of the ladies that sat next to me in the next cubicle over was like the queen of South Kona. She had tons of listings and had been there for 20 years, and she was moving towards retirement, and she wanted to pass all of her listings and her business off to somebody. And most agents in Kona don't want to drive that far south, and the lots there would sell for $25,000. They're really low, and homes would sell for like $300,000. So it was a really low price point area on the island, and so a lot of people didn't want it. But I just said, hey, I'll take whatever I can get. Right? I was young and hungry, and I would do whatever. And she really jump started my real estate career by giving me a shot and passing a lot of business on to me. And funny story, just she retired probably 6 years ago and moved to the mainland. And I was in Costco a couple of months ago. I made an Instagram post about this, and I just ran into her at Costco. She'd come back to visit, and she was randomly at Costco, and I was there too. And I got to give her a hug and just tell her this story about how I think about her all the time, because even though I don't necessarily say it and we haven't talked in years, I think about her all the time. And that's why Miloli'i is special. Miloli'i and Ann Lozansky, really special person in my life.
There you go. See, Jen, did you ever think you'd have such an extravagant story from such a simple thing? So Miloli'i, Miloli'i, I really like Miloli'i because of what you said. Its history, and it's got that great song that Israel Kamaka Vivaloli refers to, which is a really cool thing. So that's kind of what sticks out in my mind. And we got the little heart symbol. Thank you, Jen. I bet that was from you. Barbara, thank you. Hey, Barbara, welcome back. Hi and greetings from North Idaho. No longer snow and 0 temps here. 43 degrees right now. Balmy weather. It's time to wash the car. People are going out in shorts in Idaho when it's at 43 degrees. I remember those days. Heidi, back in the birthplace, the state that we were born in, Illinois, when 43 degrees after a winter, man, it's practically balmy weather. Jen loves it. I'm glad you love it, Jen. I'm glad you love it. All right, great. Hey, let's do a couple of news things. I want to kind of bring a few things up that I thought are kind of interesting. Well, first of all, whale spotting. Whale spotting is the thing, gang. Let's see if I could. Yeah, there you go. There's a shot for you. Whale spotting is the thing. Apparently, what they're saying is that they're getting higher than for this time of the year. They're getting higher than usual, higher than previous years in terms of whales. And I want to. Heidi is an avid whale spotter. I'm gonna get a whale spotting report from Heidi. I'm sure she's gonna give us an update on that. Hey, the El Nino is at El Natio. So here's the fun part, right? We can't forecast the weather a month out for sure. We can hardly forecast the weather accurately a few days out. There's no way we're going to forecast the weather like years out or 10 years out, right? Well, anyway, what's interesting is that there was predictions of extreme drought due to El Nino. And that is anything but that. We are way ahead in terms of rainfall. And it's been a very, very wild season, and definitely a not predicted season. I thought that was I always like to find things that are where people miss their predictions. I always kind of get a kick out of that. So batteries replacing coal on Oahu. So here's what's going on. There's a big thing here. Let me show you this picture here. So it's a big issue about you see that piece of land in the foreground there with those rows, looks like trailers. Those are batteries. So we've got a huge battery pack that's first of its type in the country that is on Oahu. And it has replaced a coal plant. Now, here's what's interesting. It hasn't really replaced the coal plant because what has been said about that story is that they took out a coal plant and they replaced it with batteries. But the problem is, and they've quoted this and they've stated this publicly, the power from the batteries are not replacing the power that the coal was generating. In other words, it's not equivalent. And there are predictions of more and more outages. And we will see. The first part of the year, we've had outages. And with the storms today that are going on, Hawaiian Electric told us, hey, be prepared for outages. And they've never done that before. I've never seen that before. And other issues, what's going on with outages on Oahu, maybe on the state, is indirectly because of Maui. Now, here's what's interesting. So because of the fire, because of the lawsuits going against Hawaiian Electric in Maui, Hawaiian Electric, the electric company, is now cutting back. What they're doing now is they have a new policy. When there's a power outage, if it's a down pole, they will now, a new policy, shut off power to the entire area and send out teams to inspect the area before they turn the power in that area back on. What does that mean? We have a strong possibility of extended outages. So the big headline here, gang, is we're going to have extended outages. That is the big headline. All right. The Shaka sign. Notice the logo in your upper, I don't know, the upper right-hand corner, upper left-hand corner over here. Living in Hawaii, the Shaka, guess what? It's going to be, there is legislation that is going to, they want to make the Shaka sign official, the official state gesture. Story of Aloha starts. A newly introduced bill is looking to make Shaka the official state gesture. How about that? I won't take credit, but it's sure fun to see the state following me. That's always good fun. And then finally, green fees. There may be some green fees coming in, and we're not talking about golf green fees. We're talking about Governor Josh Green fees. Maybe there may be $25 charge imposed on out-of-state visitors on checking in. So there may be new fees that are coming up. And then finally, with the weather, if you look at that black thing over there with the wind icon, it's going to be a windy weekend. It has already started. We had great weather up until like last night, and now it's back. So let's get back to our friends over here. And Ashliey has joined us. Hopefully, Ashliey, your substandard Mac. We had our Mac versus Android battle. The substandard Mac. Hopefully, you got those the technical issues all worked out. So hopefully you're good with that. So hey, why don't you lead us off, Ashliey? Let's do a market update. Let's do a market update. Tell us what's going on with you. Give us what's happening on Oahu. What's the market like? What's the weather like? How's the sweater? Are you freezing? I was very cold this morning. I was going to wear my sweater, but not quite. What's up, Ashliey?
The market is really, there's not a whole lot that's transpired since our last 2 weeks. I think that we're seeing things pick up just naturally because everyone's back in school. They're back in the grind. We do see, travelers coming more to Hawaii again. I would think that people are still on the fence thinking that rates are going to come back down in a bit. Therefore, they're going to wait until that happens. I'm still advising don't do that, of course. Inventory is at record lows. I think we're experiencing that across the nation, so to speak. I did see or hear something interesting. I was at it's called CCIM. It's the commercial forecast event that they do every year. And then there is a representative in the residential sector that speaks as well. And he is very tied into certain markets across the nation. And he noted that in Seattle and parts of California and some other markets, they're already seeing these really intense multiple offer situations again with 12, 20 plus offers on properties that are priced right. In Hawaii, we normally see a bit of a lag on certain trending markets on the mainland that follow here shortly after. I think that's a telltale sign that we're going to be experiencing that probably again soon. So just some, crystal ball speaking here. As far as the weather, I hate it. I'm painting my house. And we had to stop because it's raining so much and I can't play pickleball and it's cold and I'm wearing sweaters and fuzzy socks. And it was sunny for one day. And that's when I flew over to Maui and Dylan got to speak at another amazing event. So I got to see him and some other friends and it was beautiful and it was sunny. And then now it's raining again.
Yeah, we were talking about that, chat about that weather just for a moment. It was great it's been a weird year. It's been a weird year weather-wise. It's been a weird weather year, right?
I will say though, despite the rainy weather, it is still awesome to go hike because you don't have the sun beating down on you. So it's one of my favorite times to do more of the walking path type hikes, like going to the lighthouse. And oh my gosh, the whales, they're just right off the coast and they're breaching like crazy right now. And that's so fun. Whale season is one of my favorites. And it's just a perfect time to go out and enjoy the weather without being burnt to a crisp and check out those humpback whales.
Heidi, when we get to you, I want to hear about the whale report in Maui, but we're going to go to Dylan first to give us the update on the Big Island. What's happening with the Big Island market? Ashliey is kind of saying it still hasn't changed too much, but there's signs of of the magma rising in the volcano before it erupts. What do you see, Dylan?
Yeah, that's it's always happening, right? That stuff's always happening. So we'll see. It's been quiet for a while, so we're kind of due for some type of activity or eruption. But I did want to comment on your news rundown where, I'm glad that we have good solid priorities where we're having rolling blackouts, but we're worried about making the shaka the official gesture, right? So, I mean, the legislative season is always fun when you see what the priorities are for our state. So, so the market report this is interesting from a data standpoint. Is we had 388 sales on the Big Island, which is lower than normal for the Big Island. But last month we had 310, so pretty significant increase month over month. And if you look at January of last year, there was only 289. So that was the lowest point in the last 12 months. Last January, we've had a big jump in the number of sales, like a 30% jump. If you just look, month comparing January of last year to January of this year, and so it kind of feels that way. It's January felt like a really busy month for closings and for activity. And so we'll see if that trend continues. But the thing that is just always going to be a factor in all of this is that inventory has not risen. It's still at like 1,900. We're still under 2,000 total listings. And that is, 50% of what it was pre-COVID. And so the market doesn't have a lot of inventory to continue to increase on the sales side of it. But interesting, just perspective change, because the last couple months of last quarter of last year was very, very slow, and we're seeing a big jump in activity in January. So we'll see if that continues.
Yeah, interesting. Dylan, Jen agrees with you. Well said, Dylan, about priorities. Jen, Dylan's got one of the most sort of interesting political views on things. It's written. He and I go way back. Actually, that's kind of how we met through a political purpose. But I always found Dylan's commentary really, really interesting and well spoken. So yeah. There's a lot to talk about on that power issue, man. I think it's going to be a big mess. Big mess is right around the corner. It's already here, but it's going to get even bigger. Go ahead.
In Kailua, they shut down. The power outage was so long last week in Kailua that there was videos of Target and some groceries just completely emptying out the entire refrigerated and frozen section, throwing away all of the food.
Yep. I mean, okay, just a quick aside. What the irony of this is, there's so many ironies about this, right? So they're putting in batteries. They replaced, they got rid of the coal plant, right? And they put a battery pack, which does not have the power of the coal plant. So guess what I'm hearing now in my neighborhood? When the power goes out now, what am I hearing in my neighborhood? Guess what I'm hearing? Generators. Powered by what? Diesel, fuel, gasoline. So we take off a coal plant to be replaced by diesel plants. Okay, that makes total sense to me. All right, good one. But anyway, hey, let's talk about whales. Heidi, give us the whale spotting update from Maui, and give us the Maui update. Let's get to brighter, more beautiful things. Let's talk about whales. Go ahead, Heidi. Give us the whale update.
The whales are definitely here, and it's so fun to see them off the coast. The last few days, I've driven to South Maui, and it's along this winding road along the ocean, between the ocean and the mountains. And I mean, you can't look at them too much when you're driving, but you can definitely see them out there. And it's just, they're such majestic creatures, and it's really fun when they're here. There's a sense of community. It's interesting. So great time of year to see whales. As far as the real estate market, our January on Maui was similar to our December on Maui, which activity had picked up pretty significantly compared to the previous 3 months. And our January 2024, we definitely had more condo sales than January 2023. So for condos, just looking at the MLS, about 92 condos sold in January 2024 compared to 54 in January 2023. 56 single family homes sold and that was about the same as January 2023 and also about the same as last month. So it seems to be a pretty steady market. I mean, really the focus and the hot topics are just finding more permanent housing for people who were displaced by the Lahaina wildfires. And there's all kinds of programs going on to incentivize short-term rentals to convert to long-term rentals. There's also a new program, an ADU loan forgiveness program. So if somebody wants to build an accessory dwelling on their property, there's a $50,000 completely forgivable loan if they house a family displaced by the wildfires for up to 3 years. So there's different incentives out there to try to create housing. And then there's also noise in the media threatening to get rid of short-term rentals or reduce short-term rentals. So that's just causing some uncertainty. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens with all that. So exciting times.
Fun times, as they say, as the term goes, Heidi. Fun times, right? That's interesting. Well, first of all, I want to say hi to Alex, who has just rejoined us again. Welcome back, Alex. Aloha, peeps. Alex, great to have you back with us, man. I'm really glad that you're here. Hey, folks, if you've just joined us, let us know where you're from. It's always kind of fun to see where people are from. Give us a quick shout out, pop it in the comments, and I'll say hello back. It's always
I wanted to share a whale story. So this past weekend, one of the agents on our team is a beautiful hula dancer, and she dances kind of part-time at one of the resorts out in Waikoloa on the Big Island, and they give her comped rooms from time to time. And so she gave our family one to use because it had to be used by the end of January. So we stayed out there just for one night, played tourist with the family, and we ate at this is the Fairmont Orchid, and we ate at Brown's Beach House, which is like their premier restaurant. It's right on the water. I mean, it's open air, and you sit out in the open under palm trees, and it's like fine dining. And we're sitting there at sunset, and like right out in front of us in the ocean, this pod of whales is like doing all kinds of action and jumping and stuff, and it was just like totally magical experience, like sitting there under the stars, eating an amazing meal, and like the whales are right out there. You can't even make that stuff up, so cool.
You can't make that stuff up, man. I mean, these are like these amazing Hawaii stories that are like, there's these magical moments, right? And they could be the simplest or the most complex kind of things, right? But you're in this incredibly magical moment in Hawaii, and it's like, man, yeah, so lucky to be here, so lucky to be alive, so lucky. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for what I'm experiencing right now. That is a really cool thing. So yeah. Awesome. Great sharing. Hey, I want to say a quick shout out to Michael Lotta, who's back with us. Hey, aloha, Michael. Welcome back, buddy. And Bob Carl is back. Bob, aloha from Hawaii Kai Peninsula. Awesome. Bob, hope you're enjoying your time there in the Hawaii Kai Peninsula. Welcome back. We're really glad to see you here. Yeah. So, hey, let's move on. We got a bunch of things. I got some questions. We have some things to kind of say. Oh, before we do that, I'm going to say hi. Oops, wait a minute. Visalia, California. Okay, Alex is from Visalia, California. Didn't know that. Good to know. All right. Hey, look, gang, if you I don't know how you got here, but I'm glad that you're here. If you did not get here through the newsletter, if you didn't get the newsletter from livinginhawaii.com, get the newsletter. You'll be invited to future shows, and when there's new content on the site, you'll be notified. Go to livinginhawaii.com. A thing is going to pop up. Throw in your email address and join us. So we always got a bunch of questions that come in from our audience. And by the way, I should say this, focus on this for a moment over here. Hey, those of you that are here with us right now, you've got the priority. You're here with us. We're live. If you've got a question, pop it in the comments, and the team here will run around and we'll toss it around and discuss it. So make sure, got a question, throw in the comments. Let's do that. But I've got a few that have been waiting for us anyway. So why don't we kind of do this, because this might be a good, well, I hope it'll be a good discussion about what's going to go on over here. So let's hit this. So here's the big question. The big question for today is from Tracy from Naples in Florida, who asked, what are the top 3 obstacles most newcomers face when moving to and once living in Hawaii? Now, she also asked for their solutions, but we're not going to talk about the solutions because the solution is like, spend 40 years here, and if you're lucky, you'll figure it out. But the question is, what are the biggest newbie obstacles? What are the biggest obstacles in their solution? Most newcomers come. Now, you folks have all you guys all sell real estate, and I'm sure you've sold real estate to people that have just moved here. I'd be curious about what kind of problems that you see people facing. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go to Heidi and then Ashliey and then Dylan for what you see that new folks, the common things that you've seen, Heidi, that newcomers face when they come to Hawaii.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is just the overall mindset of being open to being in a new place and not expecting everything to operate as it did on the mainland, because it's definitely different here. And I think when I see people coming from other places and just getting really frustrated because things aren't going how they expect, they just need to take a breath, relax, feel the aloha, and just learn how to kind of get along with everybody. I don't know how to describe it, but it's more about the mindset and expectations, and some things take a little longer, but it's an amazing quality of life if it's right for you. So
Excellent.
I mean,
Excellent.
that's the number one thing that comes to mind.
Perfect. Okay, so mindset, getting used to the things are going to be probably significantly different. Actually, this is great because Tracy asked for 3 things and there's 3 of you, so perfect. So that's yours. Ashliey, what's yours? What comes top of mind to yours in addition to what Heidi's saying?
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest one. I think depending on where you move to, of course, the discrepancy of curb appeal in certain neighborhoods and houses. You have a big mix of affordability, different neighborhoods, because you have people that generationally were handed down properties. And again, if this is there are some isolated areas where you see just all really nice homes and such, but just kind of getting used to that. The neighbor next door has a lot of cars parked out front, or their house looks like it's not taken care of. They're beautiful people often, and they just can't necessarily afford to renovate the home or keep it to par. So I think that mindset of like, a lot of people live for community here and for the outdoors and just being together, and not so much pouring money into the aesthetics of the home. I run across that often. So it takes some massaging. I'm going to be paying $2 million to be next to what? And then
Interesting.
Acclimating them to the differences of what people will prioritize here.
That is a really, really interesting perspective. I'd never kind of thought about that curb appeal, but you're so right. We place a much more higher priority, like you said, on community and enjoying the outdoors. It's less about the house, and it's more about the people, the culture, the outdoors, the nature. That's going. Dylan, before we go to you, I want to pop in a hello to Tim Kim, who says from Tampa, St. Pete. I'm assuming from Tampa, St. Pete, Florida. Just listed our home on the market yesterday. Can't wait to move to the islands. So Tim, this is interesting because there's other people who want to move from Hawaii to Tampa. So it's always fun to kind of get that amazing dichotomy. So Tim, what would you tell someone who's living in Hawaii and they're considering moving to Tampa, St. Pete? Why would you tell them, no, don't do it? I'm leaving Tampa, St. Pete to go to Hawaii. You should not, but you want to rethink that decision to move from Hawaii to Tampa, St. Pete. Why, Tim? Pop it in the comments. I want to know. Dylan, what's your, you've always got something fun, interesting to kind of say about this topic. What is the biggest obstacle? Heidi mentioned kind of getting used to the mindset, which is of course the big one. Ashliey mentioned curb appeal. What's your biggest newbie obstacle, Dylan?
I think kind of connected to what they're saying, but maybe another perspective is really focusing in on the benefits here that are different, or the things that are special here that are different from where you came from. And like a perfect example is a lot of times people say like they miss the seasons, right? They miss the leaves falling and the leaves changing and things like that, which is totally legitimate. But there's other things like being able to like sit on the shoreline and watch whales, right? Which you're not going to get where you came from. So it's almost like changing your mindset, like Heidi said, from focusing on what you don't have here to really focusing on all the additional things that you have here. Because there's a lot of that where, hey, you may not be able to go to a concert or a Broadway show or something like that. We don't have those types of entertainment value type of activities, but you can go on an amazing hike and see views that are just totally mind-blowing, or just sit on the beach and enjoy a sunset, and so it's really shifting your mindset from what is important and what is special. And if you can't get over some of those things, like having the access to big city amenities, sometimes it can be a hard transition, because like everybody said, it's very, very different. I've also had people say, like, I can't believe you can't go get a dinner reservation past 8:00, and that's very common on the neighbor islands, where things, you need to eat dinner by 5:30 or 6, or you're not going to go out to a restaurant. And but that's also a thing I think that's great, is that we don't have a lot of hustle and bustle after hours. So
I get a bonus too. That was good. It is. It drives me nuts going to Outer Island, and I'm like, what? It's 9.
The whole town. When the very first place I touched my feet in Hawaii was Maui, 1983, and I remember in the resort area, it's like, the whole town is shut down. Is that like sun goes down, town is closed. Like, what? That was like the wildest thing. But yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
I have one more bonus. Just
sure. Bonus topic. Go.
Furniture. It's just, especially because we're staging, or people who are, pouring into the aesthetics of the home, just materials and furniture. We don't have IKEA. We don't have those big box stores. So you sourcing certain materials can be more challenging. Not impossible, just more challenging.
Costco and Facebook Marketplace. That's the sourcing. That's the source of it.
Yeah. So the pro to having the military is that they come and move every 3 years. So it keeps the housing market here on Oahu very stable, but they also bring their furniture, and then they sell it when they're here, and they get more for it before they move back.
There's ways to get furniture here. A lot of people that are building or remodeling, order a container or share it with a few people and ship things over. And it's actually amazing the amount of products that you can buy online these days and ship to Hawaii. And Amazon Prime is the best value ever out here.
Well, you're not kidding.
Game
you
changer.
are not kidding.
Did you see those houses that you can buy on Amazon Prime for $20,000-$30,000? Container homes, they just ship to you.
So hey, Ashliey, are these container? What's gonna is that like a real thing? Or are they just the additional overhead and the regulations in Hawaii don't make those usable? Or why like for Lahaina, why aren't there like 1 million of those homes on order, Heidi? And we're just like putting up all these simple, quick homes all over the place to get the housing thing squared. Anybody have an idea on that?
That's a good question. There are some things like that in the works, but it seems the focus has been on saying there shouldn't be short-term rentals. We need to get rid of the short-term rentals. That seems to have been the focus.
Dylan, you were going to say something.
Oh, there's actually we had a presentation by a nonprofit at this conference that I'm at on Tuesday about the project that they're building by King's Cathedral, where they're bringing in these and they had video of it. It's really cool. Like they're like these flat. It just looks like kind of like a flat pallet, and then it expands out and it becomes like a home, and you put two of them together, and you can and that's where they're building units to house people. And so there's definitely creative solutions like that are out there. But one of the problems with it is that the county regulations don't allow for those types of things to be legal dwellings. So in the long run, they're just temporary dwellings, and we're going to have to deal with that, from a county zoning and permitting standpoint, where if you want to create that ability to build really, 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 really affordable housing, there's going to have to be some adjustments, I think, in our zoning and building codes to allow for it. So there's always, a government issue. And I wanted to comment on, Heidi's thing, not to get too political here, but this is one of those things that, on the face of it sounds like a good idea. Like, hey, let's get rid of short-term rentals and make them long-term rentals. But of course, the unintended consequence with that is there's a huge industry of people that are supported by short-term rentals, right? The people that clean them, the people that do the bookings, the people that, the families that live off of that, because maybe there's ADU that they're using as a short-term rental that helps supplement their income. So if you do that, what is the larger economic impact of people losing their jobs, not being able to pay their mortgage because they're not getting the supplemental income from the short-term rental? There's all kinds of things. So on the face of it, it sounds good, but I think it's a really dangerous road to go down because that's a huge part of our industry. And then if we don't let people come and stay in short-term rentals, because that's a big issue here also, is that there's so many regulations to building new resorts that we don't have enough resort space for the visitor demand that wants to come to Hawaii. And that's why the short-term rental industry has exploded. And what about if those people can't come anymore because there's no space for them, or hotel rooms get so expensive that they no longer come? Those are people that aren't going to go to restaurants, aren't going to go on tours, aren't going to support the local economy because they're not here anymore. So it could have some really, really serious, and Maui has already experienced that this last year with the huge drop in visitor arrivals, that it's had rippling impacts across the economy as a whole, that whole service economy that is supported by that. So really, it's really dangerous territory to be talking about that.
I got a bootleggers and bootleggers and Baptist analogy on that one, but Ashliey, there was something that you want to say first before Dylan jumped in.
Oh no, around why or what do I think is gonna happen with those container homes? So I don't know. It just went viral because of TikTok. Somebody did a challenge to order and buy a whole home off of Amazon, and it was a $20,000 expandable container home, and they furnished it all on Prime. Not to say I'm for the Galimath. Don't get me wrong. Support local. I'm not necessarily an Amazon fan, although I do think it is very convenient. I use it often. However, they are not shippable to Hawaii. To answer your question, you cannot get it delivered to Hawaii right now. And also they are not able, I just went on to write this moment to see if you could ship it to the mainland and then get it on a container over here. And right now they don't have any available. I think that it will pose an interesting perspective. I have people who will buy farmland or certain lots and they will get container homes, and then they'll furbish them out to be tiny homes on their properties already as like a makeshift ohana. However, this will change that drastically. I think a lot of people will order these and put it on something mobile. So it has to be on wheels or something that's easily collapsible, which this home fits that criteria. So I think that it will provide a lot of opportunity for people to, add into their yards or their backyards to offset mortgages or income, but it doesn't have power or plumbing. So people will have to retrofit that. And I think that'll, throw a kink into some people. So I think it will change the landscape slightly here in Hawaii, but I think it'll make a huge difference on the mainland.
I actually have one of those container homes. It was super cool. So we have this piece of property in South Kona that's kind of just our weekend getaway, and so it's kind of like glamping, but it was basically a 20-foot container, and the wall, the sides open up, and the thing expands to be 3 times the size of a container width-wise, and it has a bathroom in it. It's all pre-plumbed. It's all you just plug in a cord on the outside to a generator or a battery source, and the home has power. So I have personal experience with that. It was really cool. It took 4 of us like maybe 2 hours to set it up, to drop the walls and get it all leveled off and stuff. Really, really easy to do, and very, very inexpensive.
How'd you get it here? This is it, by the way, for anyone who's like wondering. But how'd you get it here?
It was already here. One of my friends had it. They were living in it on a piece of property that they're waiting to build on, and then so when they didn't need it anymore, we bought it for exactly that's exactly the same thing.
Well, there you go.
They basically make them in China, and yep, that's how it just opens up, and really quick and easy to set up.
It just went viral on TikTok, so a lot of these will be pumped out, and they're not even. I think they ran out of inventory because it just went so crazy.
Yep.
That's so cool. I have to come check it out.
And then if you want to move it, you just collapse it all in and then bring a forklift, throw it back on a flatbed, and you can drive it away and put it somewhere else. So
that's
yeah,
cool.
I mean, the challenge is having land to actually put that on. I mean, and also land where the county would allow you to have a structure like that. I mean, a lot of the communities in West Maui that are still existing here have HOAs. I mean, wouldn't allow something like that. So, I mean, there has to be some kind of land use policy that would allow that, if that's part of the future plan, to have people living in tiny homes and structures like that. Because I just don't see where they're going to put them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's
Definitely.
a great, yeah, absolutely. So there's a great response I've got on that one. But I want to say hi to a few folks have chimed in. First, Momo H says, "Hey, aloha, everyone. You guys bring out the best points. Awesome. I wish I knew about all the things you talk about before we moved to the Big Island almost 6 years ago. Hi, Dylan." So there you go. So Momo, hey man, no time like the present. Glad that you're here and glad that we're sharing this with other folks. So that's kind of really neat. And I want to, and Tim has circled back. Remember, I asked Tim about the question. I'll tell Tim's moving from Florida, Tampa, St. Pete, Florida to Hawaii. And I asked Tim, well, what would you tell someone who's living in Hawaii that wants to move to Florida? What would you tell them about why would you not want to do that? And Tim says the people are nicer in Hawaii and the weather is much more humid in Florida. You can't sit out on your porch in the middle of the day and get that beautiful breeze like you can in Hawaii. Yes, yes. And Tim, may I ask or add or ask one more thing that I've heard? I've heard because I don't live there, but what about the bugs? I've heard their bugs are crazy in Florida. So what about the bug situation? Because we don't have that, bugs aren't that bad. I mean, we got bugs, but it's not like
And gators
Florida.
and snakes.
And
Good
gators.
point. Yeah.
Gators and snakes. Gators, snakes, and bugs. So it's kind of funny because I wanted to circle back on all this stuff. I think there's going to be so let's kind of divert here just for a moment. I think there's going to be Maui, I believe, is just in the beginning of illustrating a huge problem with Hawaii's entire paradigm of development, because ever since the 70s, in the 70s, you could almost trace it to like a given year when there was legislation passed. But in the 70s, Hawaii really flipped from being kind of like build stuff, build as you need, to like can't build at all. We're gonna put the kibosh on everything. And it's like right there. So now which is okay. All right, it is what it is. But now Maui has got all, like you said, Heidi, it's like Heidi, what you said many times is permission. Like we don't have to, we can't, they can't, don't let us, they won't let us, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we got all these restrictive development laws that are designed to limit development, right? Dylan, those last howlers off the boat got into legislation, right? So now, though, Maui needs development like crazy. It needs development like crazy to make up for that whole part of Lahaina that was hollowed out. And I think that's going to be a big conflict. You're going to have a big issue because now you're going to have the worst of the worst of the worst, because you got all these government regulations that were designed to limit development. And now you're going to have all kinds of waivers to these laws that we're developing. So you got government regulation on top, you got government deregulation on top of government regulation, on top of government laws, on top of perverse incentives, on top of like twisted market conditions. That is a formula for incredible opportunity for real estate agents who can figure it out, Heidi. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Heidi, or anybody else want to comment on what's going on. It's going to be a big madhouse. But Heidi, you go first. What's your take on all that? What do you see?
Well, I think they really need to invest in infrastructure and roads. And I mean, it would be amazing if they completed the plans to extend the bypass. I mean, nobody wants overdevelopment on Maui. Nobody wants over tourism. I mean, there's a reason to limit these things, but there's obviously an urgent need now. I mean, considering so many people have lost their homes, and it really is important for our community to have people in the community that have stable housing so they can go to school, they can work, so we don't lose that sense of community. And I mean, moving families into short-term rentals, like the short-term rentals already exist. It's kind of another temporary solution, in my opinion. And I'm a little concerned, as I expressed last time, about when all this FEMA money runs out, because I mean, there's so many incentives. They're paying 175% of market rate rent in a lot of cases. I mean, once that runs out, what are people actually going to be able to afford, and where are they going to live? And I mean, I think some building and development needs to happen. And I mean, you look around, like you see lots of land. It's just not zoned for residential use. But I think if there's a strong will, there's a way. And the projects are needed now. I mean, housing is needed now. Like if you start building now, I mean, something might be ready in 2 years. That would be extremely fast. A lot of projects on Maui take decades, and people don't really have decades. So it's
Exactly. That's
it's a
exactly it.
complicated issue. And I just, as a real estate agent, I really care about people having a place to live. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm even in this industry. So I think about it all the time, and yeah, it's distressing, and something needs to happen.
The important perspective here, right? I always like to point to the data, and I don't know exactly what it is on Maui, but I know the Big Island, and I think we've talked about this before, is that, like Heidi's saying, nobody wants to overdevelop and overbuild, but the reality on the Big Island is, and I'm sure it's similar on Maui and Kauai, this doesn't apply to Oahu because Oahu is built out a lot further, but on the Big Island, less than 5% of the land is zoned for any type of development. So even if you increased it by 1% and we went to 5% or 5.5%, you would dramatically solve the affordable housing crisis by making more land available to build stuff on and just increasing supply. And so it's the threat doesn't even exist to overdevelop. You just have to move the needle a little tiny bit, which in the grand scheme of things, nobody would even notice because there is so much land available that if rezoned, we could be using it towards a useful cause. And you could definitely solve this problem. It's not getting rid of short-term rentals and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. It's really a land use problem.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's going to be interesting. I'm really fascinated to see how this is going to be like a case study for economists for years to come.
Another sad perspective, right, is I just spent the week interacting with folks from all over the country, Canada, and multiple 5 or 6 of them came up to me and asked her, like, hey, what's going on over here in Maui? Because you drive up the beautiful coast along the beach to get to all of these resorts, and there's tents everywhere. I mean, these people live in, like rows and rows and rows and rows of tents. And they're like, what's going on with all the money that came in to help people? Like, why are people living on the beach like that, right? And it's just like, something's wrong, right? It doesn't make any sense when you see all of the support and all of the millions of dollars that came in, and the result is, and that's going to have a rippling effect too on people visiting. Like, that's not a good look when you're paying $500, $600 a night at a hotel room, and you got to drive past homeless encampments all over the beaches in order to get there. So,
a lot of challenges, man. A lot of challenges. And we're going to move on to our next segment here, but I'm going to Tim came back. I asked Tim about the bugs. Tim says, my wife is a bug magnet, and we can't go 10 minutes into a hike without her being eaten alive. Well, there you go. Oh, and don't forget the snakes you have to watch out for on the edge of the trail. So, man. All right. Hey, Tim, this has been, I need to clip and paste this for an ad. I don't know for who, an ad for Hawaii or an ad for not Florida, but hey, Tim, appreciate that feedback. Great stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting stuff that's gonna go on, gang. We're gonna get some amazing things are gonna be happening. All right, let's move on to Diamonds and Deals. I've asked our friends here to put together their favorite properties and show us kind of what they want to sort of showcase and talk about. So let's hit this one. Wow, Heidi, what are we looking over here? What are we looking at over here? What is this?
So this is a very secluded estate out past Hana. It's actually a couple different parcels, 3.9 acres, completely off-grid lifestyle. You see you have a main house, you have a Balinese cottage, and multiple outbuildings. So this is for somebody that's just really, really looking to get away and be out in the country. And It's listed for 2.7.
Now, Kaupo, Maui, what part of, just kind of curious, what sort of section of Maui is that in? What's it nearby?
It's far east Maui. It's past Hana. So if you drive to Hana and you just keep going, that's where this is.
Wow. Okay. So this is, you are out in satellite, like you said, you're off the grid. Starlink is your satellite provider. Is your internet provider. Cool. It's
you're probably a few hours to Costco on a good day.
Everything is now measured, right? Everything is now measured in proximity to Costco. That has become, right? This has become the new metric, right? How far away are you from Costco? right? That's the other, or the other one. Sorry, this is random thing. My wife, when we're looking at real estate for one reason or another, my wife says, okay, find where the nearest Whole Foods are. We want to live near the Whole Foods because there's proximity to Whole Foods that you want to have, right? That's like, given neighborhood and
Or Target.
demographics and all that. Or Target, yeah, or Target, right? Target or Target or Whole Foods. All right, let's move on to the next one over here. This is Ashliey's listing. Ashliey, what are we looking at, Ashliey? What is this? Very nice
So
and blue.
this listing is actually listed by Tony Kawaguchi and Chelsea. They're at eXp Realty as well. And I saw this come on market and I just loved it. My office is close by in this area in Hawaii Kai, and it's on the marina. And not all houses are made the same when you guys are looking at something on the marina or the canal. And this one is such a good location because you can get out to the ocean from here and it's not tight. Like some parts of it are more narrow than others. And this is the nice open area. But the renovation is just so beautiful. It does have a boat dock. The photo in the bottom right corner, you can see the houses towards the bottom left of that photo next to the red roof. And they have a great just flow from the parking. The parking says 4, but really you could fit more, and it's a quiet street. You can fit some on the street as well if you're having gatherings. And you have these big slider doors that open right up to the pool that goes right to the canal marina. The renovation, it's very contemporary. I love it. It's like this all the way throughout the home. And the bathrooms are just also stunning. I like the wood on wood. I don't know if you guys are noticing on the trends for renovation, you're seeing a lot more of this like white oak, light oak kind of wood cabinets with wood floors. And I personally just love that with black hardware. So loved this house. I had a couple buyers for it that I sent to you. And no one has put an offer on it yet, so it's still available.
I know exactly what area that you're talking about, and that is I think. Is there any other place that you could think of, Ashliey, on Oahu where you can have a home that's got a boat dock? How many other places other than this area? This is the only area, right, with homes with boat docks that have ocean access, right?
Yes,
think about it.
I can't think of anything else besides Hawaii
right?
Kai, the marina that has boat docks.
The Hawaii Kai Marina, yeah.
I don't know if you can get to Costco from this location, but I do know when you're in Hawaii Kai and you have a boat dock, you can actually dock it over by the shopping center that has Costco and Safeway, and you can go get a coffee and a few other different shops and Ace, not hardware, a hardware store, gas station. It just is really cute to have that boat life. It's one of the only spots I think in all of Hawaii. I don't know. Heidi, Dylan, is there anything like that on Maui or Big Island?
Nope.
There's nothing like that. Okay, so the entire state. So this is like the rarest of rare properties. This is rarer than beachfront. This is rarer than beachfront, right? Because beachfront's everywhere.
Under 3 million, which is not that's pretty par, it's priced right. But I just think that this is, like you said, it's so rare. It's the only spot, and under 3 million. I don't think it'll always be like that. 10 years from now, I think that these are going to be the commodity, known to be the commodity that they truly are.
I think you are right. So therefore, this is a deal. This is not just a diamond. This is a deal. A deal at 3 million because of what it represents. It's the rarest of rare price. And that's funny you mentioned about. I don't know if everybody caught that. So you can, there's this area in Hawaii Kai that Ashliey's talking about. You can actually, there are homes on the water with boat dock that you can get to Costco. So getting to Costco now becomes, again, the same metric, but a very different way to go to Costco. Get to Costco on your boat. That's what I want to do. I want to go shopping to Costco on my boat and unload a Costco container onto my boat and drive back home and load my house up from my boat. That would be
I did think of some other areas. Kaneohe Bay. There are some houses on Kaneohe Bay that do have boat docks. Yeah, but not on a marina. Right. You're out on the ocean.
You're on, okay. All right. On the ocean. Excellent. Wow. Amazing. All right. So, it's always kind of fun. So this is kind of cool, right, King? So look at this. So Heidi's property is 2.7 million, just about the same price. So Ash is at 2.9, very, radically different. So I don't know what Dylan's going to show, but I can't wait to see it because it's going to be fun. Dylan, what is this? This is great.
I got the 500 square foot cabin in Pauilo. So this is the deal, you guys, right? You got 2 diamonds, but if you And I always want to add the perspective that you don't have to spend $2 million, $3 million in Hawaii if you want to live here. And this is in Pauilo, which is on the east side, old sugarcane country. And it's just a cool little 500 square foot cabin. It does have 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, but 379,000, you guys. And just like, you know, just greenery all around, lots of room to grow your own food, and, you know, completely livable space. If you're looking to live on a budget, you don't have to spend multi-million dollars to do that in Hawaii. This is a little bit rural. It's east of Waimea. If you're familiar with the Big Island, it's on the Hamakua coast, but an hour from Costco. So you can still get to Costco pretty relatively. It's closer than being in Hana on Maui.
What's the lot size?
It's like 10,000 square feet, so it's not big, but still, I mean, with 10,000 square feet, you can. It's plenty of space. You got a little house to grow lots of stuff. It's more than you'll need. Water catchment? Nope. This is on county water and electric, and yeah, not off the grid.
Oh, winner.
Yeah.
Winner. County. You have county water, electric. 379 for 10,000 square feet in a nice area. Well, I don't know about the area exactly, but near. I love Waimea.
Yeah, that's a funny dynamic on the Big Island, right? Is infrastructure on the Big Island was really driven by sugarcane, right? So you have these really, nowadays, if you're new to the island, you don't know the history, you got these like really remote areas that have infrastructure because 50 years ago there were thriving communities that were growing sugarcane, and today, you know, all of that is gone, and a lot of, you know, it's much more rural. A lot of the amenities have closed, right? There's not as many shops and restaurants and things like that, but the communities still have infrastructure because that's where the county invested in infrastructure. You know, that 50 years ago was not where the resorts are and those types of things. It was in these sugarcane communities.
Sugarcane. So that's that. And I'm sure everyone knows about that. That's an interesting hidden secret, so to speak, or development opportunity. Ashley, I just heard your microphone click. Go click, Ashley. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my first house was 500 square feet in Haleiwa, and it was amazing. And I had dogs there. It was the perfect little starter home. And that was the catalyst. That little 520 square foot home that I had that was 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom was the catalyst for me to get a nice size home, you know, here in Kailua. And I would not have been able to do that if I didn't buy my starter home.
Well said. Well said. You are correct. You are correct. All right. Hey, this was great, gang. Excellent. I love the diversity and variety. Bob Carl says that's 1.6 miles from Hawaii Kai Peninsula. I believe, Bob, you're talking about the distance from Costco to the peninsula area that Ashley was showing us. Thank you for doing that Google Maps lookup. Great. Hey, look, it's about the right time. Let's start to wrap this up. So we're going to give our closing thoughts. If you've got some closing thoughts, please share with us. And let's hear the best of what you have to say and motivational thoughts. Heidi, what's yours and what does it mean to you?
The sooner you step away from your comfort zone, you realize it wasn't comfortable at all. So this is just about, you know, getting out of your comfort zone and taking the next steps towards your goals, and just not being attached to how things were in the past, because they could be even better in the future if you just let yourself go there.
It's like the whole Hawaii thing, right? Like you let go. It's not what you think it's going to be. It's going to be something different, and you have to embrace that difference. Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. Great contribution today. Dylan, what's yours?
Yeah, I heard this here at the conference. That's why I love coming to things like this. There's lots of business practices, but there's a lot of mindset and philosophy, and I always love that stuff. But the one constant in life that you can control is change. You are either changing for the better, worse, or not changing at all. You're in control of that, right? So I think it's a really good perspective where we say like the world is always changing and it's out of our control, but really your personal change is 100% inside of your control, and you got to make a decision on whether you're changing for the better, the worse, or not changing at all.
Well said. Well said. There is one thing. There is one and only one thing that you are in control of, and that's you. That's it. That's all you've got is you. You are in control of you and nothing else, but that's all you need the control of is you, because everything else flows from you. Ashley, what's yours? Let's have it.
Low energy cannot attract high level opportunity. I think when we have anything to do with our mindset around health, wellness, income, opportunity, whatever it might be, if you just go in and you're just sluggish and you're mediocre, your mindset's not right, you're not going to attract the right things. So just keep your energy in line with what you want.
If you want high level opportunity, do not come to it. Do not come at it with low energy. Well said. Well said. Thank you, Ashliey. I'm going to close up mine. As you all know, what I'm known for now is my proverbs. Here's my one for today. The human mind may devise many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will be established. And you know what I mean by this is what this means to me is that we could, there's always about these, every success philosophy that exists out there. It's all about the things that we have always mentioned on the show. It's about your intention. What is it that you want to bring about? What is it that you want to manifest? What are you going to focus your mind on? What's that you're going to do? And all those things are true. They all work. They all work. Whatever you put your mind to, that's what ends up happening. That's all true. But what is the purpose of all that? What are you aligning with? What is the fundamental alignment of that purpose, of that direction? And to me, the fundamental alignment, if you align yourself with the divine, and I don't care what you believe in, whatever higher power you believe in, doesn't matter what it is, but align yourself with the divine. And that is really, really the path that you want to go on. Align with the divine, and then use all those great techniques to make it all happen. The high energy, the focus, the success, the change, and all that kind of good stuff. All right, that's enough, gang. So Alex is kicking in. My worst day is Hawaii. My worst day in Hawaii is better than my best day on the mainland. Bam, man, that is a commercial right there, Alex. Right there. That's the commercial. All right, gang. Hey, look, we're going to see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great one. I hope the weather's going to be good in Hawaii. I hope we survive the power outages. With that, let's why don't we say goodbye? Let's do it counterclockwise. Ashliey, then Dylan, and then Heidi. Say goodbye.
Have a blessed day and weekend, everyone. Aloha.
Hello, everybody.
Aloha. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Aloha. Have a great one, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Aloha.